Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Retire Well, the show dedicated to helping you retire well in all aspects of your life. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me today is Kevin Bucher. He is the owner and a financial advisor at Citizen Advisory Group. We have a very special show for you today. We're so glad that you're joining us. Kevin, my friend, always great to be with you. How are you this week?
I am doing great, and I'm very excited about the show we're going to do today.
Yes.
So very excited to get going and getting started.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing I want to say as we kick off today's very special show is that you got an email recently from one of our viewers. We wanted to share this sentiment with you because it blessed us, and I think it's a great setup for today's show. So talk a little bit about the message you received.
Yeah, so in summary, she was an individual that was getting close to retirement herself, and she's seen the show several times and got good value from the show, but really what she shared, which was meaningful to me that I shared with you, was that she felt like we were part of her family, or part of her in her living room with her, sitting as friends, and that just meant a lot, because I think that's what we're trying to accomplish here.
Yes, for sure.
In what we do as a family firm. That when we bring a client in, we do bring them into our family, and we do want that type of relationship.
For sure, and we do. We consider you, the viewers, part of this Retire Well family, and we honor you, and we are so thankful to get to spend this time with you each and every week. And because of this family dynamic that we have been blessed to be able to create as a part of Citizen Advisory Group and the Retire Well show, we wanted to share that unfortunately we lost a very valued member of our family recently. We have a picture to show you. This is the beautiful Connie Bucher. She is Kevin's mother, Jeff's mother, who are both the founders and creators of Citizen Advisory Group. And I know, Kevin, that you wanted to do a very special tribute show because her legacy lives on through what you are doing at Citizen Advisory Group.
Yes, very much so. And as part of my grieving process, I think what I have kind of found to help me in this grieving process is really just to honor and pay tribute to my mom and my dad. And so that was where I had this idea for the show. And you're right, her presence and her fingerprints are all over the business that we built, and I'll share a little bit of that story as we go through today's show.
Well, thank you so much for putting this together, and I am incredibly honored to get to have this conversation with you and to honor your beautiful mother. So,
well,
what
a
gift.
You. Yes, thank you. Special lady.
Yes.
And I think the first thing we wanted to talk a little bit about was family. And family was everything to my mom. And she had 3 boys and kids, 3 kids, grandkids. So her immediate family, very important to her. But I think if you look at how my mom lived her life, her family extended beyond just the blood family that we have. And she had a much broader family than that. She had lifetime friends. She had coworkers that were really all part of that family. And what I would say is when you were in my mom's family, whether it was a child or a grandchild or a coworker, when you were part of that family for her, you would never find a better advocate for you. So my mom would go to bat for her kids and her grandkids and her coworkers, her employers. She was a very strong advocate. And so what that made me think about is, as a firm, Citizen Advisory Group, oftentimes we're put in that same role as being an advocate for our clients. So it's in the fiduciary responsibility, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, but we're basically going to advocate for our clients and putting together financial solutions for them. But sometimes that means that we're going to have to roll our sleeves up and advocate for them, whether that's with a health insurance company where benefits were maybe not paid properly. Maybe that's with the Social Security Administration, one of my favorite ones, that maybe benefits were not paid out in the proper way. So when I think about family and how my mom was an advocate, such a strong advocate, as a firm, Citizen Advisory Group, we are advocates for the family that we have as well. And when we bring in clients, I do truly feel that we're welcoming them to the Citizen Advisory Group family, and they will not have a stronger advocate than the representatives that they have at Citizen Advisory Group as well.
What a beautiful legacy. And I think, too, this is such a thing that sets you and the team of Citizen Advisory Group apart. Typically, I don't think people would use a lot of that languaging when they describe the financial services industry as a whole, right? It's a rare thing to find that kind of family environment.
Yeah, maybe it's more, it's perceived as maybe being clinical, and well, that's not really the relationship that we have with our clients. And we have a much stronger relationship than that. And we do feel like we provide a very different experience.
Yes.
With our clientele.
Well, and you're doing life with your clients, right? And you're walking alongside of them. That's where that advocacy comes in at no matter whatever stage they're in this retirement planning process.
Absolutely. So that was the first thing that popped into my head when I went this, just the importance that family was for my mom, but how she was an advocate, not just for her family, but for her employer, her friends, and you wouldn't find a stronger advocate, and that is what we strive to be for our clients as well.
I love that. No doubt she taught you well. Well, I know another attribute that you have shared with me, which I think is another beautiful fingerprint, if you will, that she has left on you and on Citizen Advisory Group is just selflessness in general. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, being selfless means that you care more about others than you do your own personal needs, and that summed my mother up really well. And again, using the same theme on the family, that you would expect that your mother would be selfless in her love and care for her children or grandchildren. But it really stood out to us as a family how that extended well beyond our biological family with my mother. So she was selfless in her relationships with her friends. She was selfless in her relationships with her family. She was selfless in her relationship with her coworkers. She was selfless in her relationship with her employers. And it's a really special thing. And we took that lesson, and I think that kind of is how I would describe what the intent is in the financial world around the fiduciary standard of care.
Yes, and let's talk about that, because again, that word can get kicked around and has a lot of misconceptions, but what does being a fiduciary actually mean?
If I had to just sum it up in a simple, short, concise way, acting in the form of a fiduciary means that you're acting in your client's best interest, and you're going to disclose any conflicts of interest that you might have. And I think that's what we all would expect to have in a relationship with an advisor. But in the reality, we're not all held to that same standard. But I just think there's a lot of parallels between that definition of selflessness and how my mother lived her life and what it means to be a fiduciary and uphold that fiduciary standard of care. Because when we're working with a client, it's not about what we get out of that relationship. We have to separate what's in it for the advisor and do the right thing for the client. And that's what selflessness is all about. And I think that's what the intent is behind the fiduciary standard of care.
Absolutely.
Now, it's a strange world we live in a regulatory environment currently, because not all advisors are held to that same standard. You have many different regulating bodies who are involved in this conversation.
Right.
So you've got the Department of Labor who's got their interpretation of it. You've got the SEC. You have all these different entities weighing in on what it means to be a fiduciary. But when you boil it down, I think being a fiduciary means you're going to behave in a selfless manner, and you're going to put the client's interest first, not your own selfish interest.
Yes.
And that epitomized my mother. In looking back over her life, that was the very first thing that hit me, was just the way that she lived her life in all of those different roles. And again, as a firm, we are held to that fiduciary standard of care. We've been fiduciaries since the beginning. So, there's been a big move in the industry that everyone should
become one. And it's no joke to get there. I mean, there's a lot of examination and licensing that has to happen, right?
Yes. So we made that decision to act in that capacity before it was a requirement.
Yes.
So we did it by choice because we felt like it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And, as we put this show together, this is just one of those areas where it's so obvious that my mother's presence and her fingerprints are all over the business that we built. And, you know, it's just an honor to be able to represent her and my father in the work that I do.
It's such a beautiful thing, Kevin. And, you know, I think one of the things that really exemplifies your selflessness is the fact that in doing this show every single week and offering folks the opportunity to connect with you, you offer a complimentary written financial plan. And if you're not aware, there's a lot of advisors out there that would easily charge upwards of a couple $1,000s to get the same kind of information that you're going to be able to walk away with completely complimentary when folks come in to meet with you and the team. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, you know, unfortunately, we often find folks that do not actually have a financial plan. And over the years, you may have accumulated a bunch of stuff for retirement where you're going to probably have Social Security benefits. You may have a pension. You might have some investment accounts from different 401k accounts or other things you might have done on your own. But it has not been brought together into a coordinated plan. And we would call that the junk drawer approach to financial planning.
Yes.
And what we want to do is pull all of those resources together in a comprehensive, coordinated way so that you have the right investment strategy, income, tax, insurance, and legacy and estate plan. We're offering a complimentary written financial plan that will encompass all 5 of those areas.
Wonderful. Well, Kevin, thank you. I'm excited to continue this very special show in conversation with you and to continue to honor your beautiful and wonderful, loving mom. For those of you at home, if you would like to claim your complimentary written financial plan, all you need to do is call the number on the bottom of your screen, 866-630-1675. Or if you'd rather not talk to someone right now, but you do have your smartphone handy, we invite you to pull it out. You can open up that camera app, just point, click, and scan the QR code that you see there down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and then a member of the team from Citizen Advisory Group will reach out to connect with you to schedule your complimentary meeting that way as well. More on this very special episode of Retire Well right after this.
I have a bachelor's degree in education. I spent the first part of my working years teaching. I left the teaching world and went into a family business endeavor that eventually led me down to the financial services world. And there really is a lot of overlap between the two, taking comprehensive topics and breaking that into common sense, easy to understand framework, whether that was in the classroom or now in a meeting room with clients. There was a transition, but some of the skills from the education world transferred very well over into the financial world. By and large, people are very confused about the financial planning process, and oftentimes they kind of settle for the default outcome of that, of not really having control. One of my favorite parts of the process is putting the solutions together and then presenting that back to the client and seeing maybe some light bulbs going off to understanding things that maybe there wasn't a great understanding of before. Setting goals, working towards those goals, and helping them along this journey to having a more successful financial outcome. I do have an oversight role as well, where I'm overseeing other advisors. We work very well together in a collaboration where we bring different areas of knowledge and expertise to the table to really provide more comprehensive solutions for our clients.
Welcome back to Retire Well, where we dedicate this show in order to help you retire well in all aspects of your life. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me is Kevin Bucher. He is the owner and financial advisor at Citizen Advisory Group. Today's show is a very special show. We're so glad that you're joining us as a member of this Retire Well family. We are honoring Kevin's mother, Connie Bucher, who recently passed away. And what a beautiful thing you've done, Kevin, to put together this tribute show and share some of the life lessons that your mom passed on to you, and we know that her legacy is living on well and alive here at Citizen Advisory Group.
Yes, well, and it's an honor for me to be able to honor her.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and I give you a lot of credit. You know, I'll never forget when one of the only times I saw my grandmother cry was when my great-grandmother passed away, and my grandmother was in her late 70s at that point, and she said, "I don't care how old you are, it's always hard to lose your mom." And I would agree. I think that's something everyone can relate to. So what a beautiful way to honor Connie. And one of the life lessons she taught you that really stood out to me was the concept of failing forward. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so, we all fail in life. So, there's setbacks all along the journey. And I think this is something that I got from both my parents, really, is the ability to quickly move on from those failures. And so I kind of view myself as a solutions-oriented individual. So when I am presented with problems, I don't tend to dwell in those problems for very long. And I learned that from my mother and just watching her example. So in her lifetime, there was many setbacks. She has helped friends and family go through many setbacks, and she, like me, was solutions-oriented and quickly moved forward into solutions. And what that means to me as it relates to personal finance with our clients is, I think too often we meet with individuals who just feel trapped where they're at, where maybe you've made some wrong steps along the way, or life just dealt you a difficult hand, and you feel trapped that there's not a way out. And I guess I'm here to tell you that there is always a path forward. And that's one of the things that we can help people do, is kind of reset, but get in a direction moving forward and not be so stuck in the present and start making decisions that will lead to a better future.
Yes.
And there is that option out there for everyone, no matter what your personal situation is today. There is a solution to get you on a better path and a better direction. And I'm just so thankful that I did get that from my mother.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
I'm going to be a solutions-oriented individual, and we're going to work towards solutions to our problems, because we get knocked down all the time.
We do. Yes.
And that's never going to end in life.
Right. Right.
So how we respond to that and having a path to prosper from our failures is important.
And I think that's really encouraging to folks. I think one of the things that financial planning can bring up for people is this feeling of, well, I'm behind, or I've missed the boat, or I should have started way sooner before now. But to your point, it's never too late to be able to make some adjustments, make some tweaks to really start and put yourself in a better financial position.
100%. And that kind of leads into maybe our next life lesson from Mom, which kind of contradicts what we just talked about. And it was just patience. We have a tendency to want everything right now.
That instant gratification.
Instant gratification.
Right?
And I got this one from my wife, so I kind of asked family members to share with me lessons they might have learned from Mom that I would then try to turn into a financial topic. So my wife shared with me just a story that she was dealing with some personal relationship issues, not with me, of course, but with others. And my mom kind of preached to her and the importance of being patient and working at not my wife's pace, but the pace of the other individuals. So that lesson of patience is one that stuck with her, and it means two things to me as it relates to the personal finance.
Okay.
And I guess I'll start with the first one being, when we invest, we need to be patient.
Yes.
Especially when we're talking about investing in the market. So the stock market was not meant to be a short-term solution. The stock market is a long-term game.
It is.
So we have to be patient and let the investment strategy play out so that we're getting the proper returns over the long haul. So we have to be patient in that respect. But the other thing that patience meant to me as it relates to personal finance and our firm, Citizen Advisory Group, is that we have to be patient as advisors. So we often talk about that we don't work at our pace. We need to work at our client's pace. And those are often different things, right? So we do this every day. I understand we do this every day, so things are very clear to us.
And it's very routine for you. And
Yes, but the reality is, people comprehend information at different pace, and we need to work at your speed, not our speed. So that lesson of patience, again, I don't know that my mom was always the most patient person, because she was a solutions person, so she wanted to quickly get to solutions.
to fix things, sure.
But she was wise enough to preach that, hey, patience is the right answer in certain circumstances. And those are two things that just stood out to me, that number one, investing is a game that requires patience.
Yes. Yep.
And then as advisors, we need to be patient with our clients as well, and we need to work at their speed on things, not our own individual speed.
Well, and that's what really helps you and the team create these customized, personalized, written plans for folks, because, you know, the reality is what's right for you might not be what's right for the person down the street or your neighbor or your other loved one. This isn't a cookie cutter approach. You are meeting someone where they are, you're looking at where they want to go based on their dreams and goals, and then developing that customized plan to help them get there.
Well, and it's actually a really good point, that when you look at what financial planning really is and everything that it encompasses, it can be really overwhelming. So without patience, I think what ends up happening is a whole lot of inaction. So as an advisor, we need to recognize that we need to be patient. We need to present this in pieces and tackle the more priority items first. But you can't really go from having no plan to having a comprehensive plan in a very short period of time.
Right.
Because there's so much information included in that that it does become overwhelming for the individual. And when we get overwhelmed, inaction is what sets in, and then nothing gets accomplished.
Right, and the number one cause of financial failure is that inaction, that procrastination.
Yes, so we have to be patient in our approach
Yes.
on how we solve these problems.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited for more folks to get to connect with you as a result of today's show. Whether you've been joining us for several episodes or this is your very first time, welcome to the Retire Well family, where we get into it and we talk about things that really matter and make a difference. And what a blessing this legacy that Connie Bucher has left behind in her sons and in this business of Citizen Advisory Group. So if you would like to get started on your very own complimentary written financial plan, again, all you need to do is pick up the phone and call that number you see on the bottom of your screen, 866-630-1675. Or again, you're also welcome to scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. More on Retire Well right after this.
For many people, they're on the hope plan and they're just hopeful that inflation isn't going to continue at a high rate, or they hope that their health's going to play out appropriately. And the reality is we don't know. But when we build a financial plan that kind of encompasses all of these areas,
Having an investment strategy that syncs up well with your retirement planning strategy, a tax strategy, risk management strategies, and then legacy and estate planning.
it just allows people to be free and go live.
Whether you have someone that's helping you with your investments and maybe a totally different person that's helping you with your taxes and insurance, you have a disjointed plan, and when you have a disjointed plan, there's cracks in the plan.
And we have experts in each of these different areas. And when you're doing it together in a cohesive plan, you stop money slipping through the cracks.
We recognize that a successful retirement really has to go beyond just the financial services work we do.
But we also have developed what we call Retire Well, which is our wellness program for clients.
It has to include some social engagement and social connection.
And so we provide opportunities to get involved and get engaged in the community, whether that's an educational event or a walk at our wonderful Toledo Zoo.
We are a family business, and as we bring in new clients to our firm, they become part of our family. So family is big to us, and we treat our clients as if they're part of that family.
Welcome back to Retire Well. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with Kevin Bucher, and today's show is a beautiful, very special tribute show to the lovely Connie Bucher, Kevin's mother, who recently passed away, but no doubt has left a long legacy that is going to continue to live on through Kevin, through Jeff, through the team of Citizen Advisory Group. And Kevin, it's been such a joy to hear more about the life lessons that you've learned from her and how that has passed on and translated to really blessing your clients.
We could go all day.
Yes, we could.
If you let me. So I think you'll probably cut me off at some point.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to hear more about this next point. Clearly, she was a very wise woman, but wisdom is one of the things that you really feel she imparted to you. So talk about that.
Yeah, so again, I kind of asked around to some individuals to help get some different thoughts and how my mom might have impacted life. And so that was a common theme, that she was just wise. So for whatever reason, my mom was the one that people would go to with their life problems, and they would seek counsel from her for her wisdom. Her former employer actually shared with me that in a different era, she would have been the CEO. So she was just a wise woman.
Wow.
And again, relating that to the financial world, when I think about wisdom, and as a firm, I think what gives us the wisdom that we have is the experience that we've had. So we're often helping people navigate through things that they've never navigated before. For
Absolutely,
example,
yeah.
retiring. Generally, you're going to retire one time.
Right.
And as a firm, we have the wisdom of having retired hundreds of times through the experience of our clients. So we can really help navigate those challenges for our clients.
And part of that wisdom is looking at all the pieces. We've talked about this on previous shows, right? That you come at things from a very comprehensive, holistic point of view, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and so that's our final thing that we'll share on today's show is the importance of planning. And my mom was a planner, and
not a financial planner, but a planner in other aspects of life, right?
A life planner. So she might have even been a little bit of an over planner, right? So, I found some like her ledger of her monthly expenses. So just very detailed out. My mom was on top of everything.
Yeah, that's
and so, we had my wife and I had a big trip planned with her that we unfortunately are not going to get to take with her. But she just had every detail of that trip planned out. And really every hour was accounted for. I cautioned her several times as she was booking excursions and things that, are you sure that we're going to be able to handle all of this and that we don't want to incorporate some breaks? But she wanted to take, and this is the lesson I think of having a plan, is that by having a plan, my mom lived her life until the very end. And so without having that plan, I think too often we find people that are living this just in case retirement, or I can't do that now, I'm going to wait to do that. My mom had a financial plan. Luckily, she had a couple children who were financial planners that were able to help her navigate her pieces. But by having that plan, it empowered her to go out and live and enjoy what ended up not being as many retirement years as we were expecting and were hoping for.
Sure.
But by having the plan, she got to make the most of every single day that she had.
And no doubt, so many beautiful, wonderful memories were made together as a family as a result. And again, if you're just joining us, this is the picture of the beautiful Connie Bucher. And Kevin, I mean, what a blessing to get to honor her in this way. I know that I've been touched, and we know that you at home are touched by this message as well. Thank you so much for putting this show together and honoring your mom in this way.
It was truly an honor. And I made it through, so that's a good thing too.
Yes, and like we said, it doesn't matter how old you are, it's always hard to lose your mother. So I admire your courage, and thank you for your honesty and vulnerability, and really just loving her in this way today.
Yes. Well, and thank you for taking this journey with me, and thank you for taking this journey with me as well.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so excited for more folks to connect with you and the team of Citizen Advisory Group. So again, as Kevin shared, we know that a lot of this might be new to you. It might be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to do this alone. The team of Citizen Advisory Group would love to help and serve you. All it takes is you reaching out with a phone call to schedule your complimentary written financial plan. Again, that number to call is 866-630-1675, or you're also welcome to scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. Thank you so much for joining us for today's very special tribute episode. We look forward to welcoming you to the Retire Well and Citizen Advisory Group family. Thanks for being with us.